Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 6 of my best bets for tomorrow's racing. Now before we get stuck into them, just a couple of things I want to go through with you. First of all, if you haven't done so already, make sure you check out episode 2 of the Loaders Lane to Cheltenham. There's a link to it in the description box below where I review my thoughts and feelings from last week's Persian Moor meeting at Chepstow, and also as well there's an anti-post fancy for the Cheltenham Festival in there too, so make sure you watch it if you haven't done so already. But away from that, I'll quickly as well just recap on how our selections performed today. In the end, we finally had a profitable day, and it was a good profitable day as well, as we had 2 winners. My Nap Dakota Gold was a really comfortable winner at Nottingham in the rearranged Rouse Stakes. It was a nice easy win in the end by Dakota Gold. He made all and it never looked like it was in doubt with the victory, so yeah, really pleased with that one. Advertised him at 9-4. He was 2-1 for the majority of the day. Did shorten up a little bit. I think he went off around about 13-8 in the end, but he was a really solid favourite, I thought, and he absolutely destroyed the field. And he's definitely a horse you want to be following at this time of year. I don't know what it is, but he just seems to love the ground and seems to really relish the autumn period. So yeah, Dakota Gold was a nice winner. And then also as well, our nice price winner today was State Occasion, who we advertised at 7-1 each way last night, and that horse was available at that price for quite a few hours last night, so I hope some of you were able to hoover that up. But today really did land a massive gamble. State Occasion, the money just kept coming for this one. I saw it this morning when I woke up. It was round about 4-1, and then I saw the 7-2 go, and in the end it was a very short price favourite. The money really came for it, and I think at one point I saw it go as short as 15-8. So yeah, it was really nice to get that one on the board there with State Occasion. And Holly Doyle as well. It meant that she broke her own record for the most wins in a calendar year in the UK by a female jockey, so congratulations to Holly. And it was a nice one there for us with State Occasion, who had some good form in the bag, been running well in some good novice races, but moving into a nursery, we saw her there to good effect. And the only disappointments of the day, one was our next best, who was T's Components lad at Wetherby. To be fair, I think he probably wouldn't have won, but his chance of placing wasn't helped, as he had quite a messy race in the end, especially in that closing stages, because if you saw the race, there was a loose horse that was getting pretty much in all of their way, and also as well they missed out a couple of flights, and they were like weaving in and out, and it kind of just didn't help him at all, and he was kind of squeezed once or twice when they were going around the rearranged route. But like I said, I don't think he would have passed Mr. Scrumpy, who was actually quite a game winner in the end for Jed O'Keefe. So yeah, T's Components lad finished in 4th place, but it didn't help his chances with all that changing of the route. So yeah, a little bit frustrating there. And then the long shot was Hieronymus for Nicola Curry and George Baker. Didn't get out well at all from the gate, was really slow, and its main weapon normally, especially at Kempton when it's won in the past, is making all and getting out away early. And you knew pretty much as soon as the gates opened and you saw Nicola being slowly away, trying to ride him along to try and get in a prominent position. We always knew our backs were up against the wall with that one. So yeah, those were the 2 disappointments today. However, like I said, we had 2 winners, and hopefully it's something to build on now. Obviously, a lot of you that have been following me will know that we have had a disappointing October, but today was a lot more like it, and fingers crossed we can translate that in our tips for tomorrow. Now, like I said, I fancy quite a lot tomorrow, and we've got 6 tips, and we're going to be starting at Carlisle in the 226 with a horse called Looksnowtlikebrian for former champion jockey, now I'm not used to saying that, Richard Johnson, who's riding for Tim Vaughan. You can currently back this horse at 8-1. It's going to be one of my extra tips of the day tomorrow, and I'm going to recommend an each way selection here. Now this horse, if you go back through his form, actually won this race a couple of years ago, and ever since then he's not quite lived up to the expectations that he suggested he might. He looked like at one point he could progress into a real top staying handicapper, but he's had a few issues along the way. He ran respectably in this race last year when finishing in 4th, and the only concern you would have about him is sometimes his jumping isn't the best. And last time we saw him finished 4th at Warwick, where actually, despite making a few mistakes, I think he ran really well. And if he just cleaned up his jumping a little bit, I think he would be a major player in this race tomorrow. And at the prices, I think he's a big price. Now, this race isn't the strongest looking race in the world. There's quite a few horses in here that I think are either exposed, will need the run, or just not quite good enough, in my honest opinion, to be up to this level. Now, Looksnowtlikebrian, like I said, if he can just put in a bit more of a solid display of jumping, I think he's got the class to win a race of this nature. Like I said, he goes well at the course. He won this race a couple of years ago, and he's now down to a mark in the low 130s, which I think is actually where his level is. And I think if he, like I said, just tidies up his jumping from Warwick, I think that run might bring him on slightly. I think he's a major player in this race, and with Dickie Johnson aboard as well, he'll be wanting to get more winners to try and get the champion jockey title away from Brian Hughes. So yeah, I just think there's a lot in this horse's favour tomorrow. I'm expecting a good run, and yeah, at a price, I think he's worth a fair small stakes each way bet. We then go to Tramore, my only step over the RSC tomorrow in the 253. I had to put this horse up because I think he could be absolutely thrown in off a mark of 97, and that's a horse called the Great White for Conor Maxwell and Dermot McLaughlin, who's not he's not that well known over over these waters anyway. In Ireland, he's becoming very well known, but in England, he might not be that familiar to a lot of you. Dermot McLaughlin, you might remember, he had a nice horse last year who was well fancied for one of the handicaps. Can't remember which handicap it was now, but Canardier. He's definitely a horse trainer you want to be watching out for, Dermot McLaughlin, because I think he's going to have a decent season over in Ireland this year. He's got some nice horses to go to war with. Now, this horse, like I said, going back to it, I think it could be thrown in off a mark of 97. Now, if you look at the horse's profile, it had a fair career over the point-to-point obstacles, running some fair point-to-points there, and then this summer has been running in a few maiden hurdles and has been running okay. And obviously, it seems like Connections had in mind that handicapping was going to be the way forward with this horse. And last time he made his handicap debut off a mark of 97, and that was his first time, like I said, in handicap company, and I think he ran not too bad that day. And if you actually look at the form of that race, it's worked out really well, that 4th place effort in Navan, because the winner was Drill for Ronan McNally. And if you've been watching and paying close attention to the horse racing results over the last few days, you would have seen that this horse has gone on to win his next 2 starts, which have come on the flat. And if you look at the other 4 horses that have come out of that race at Navan, the 2nd place horse went on to win their next start, so I think it was Kilbeggan the other day, and the 3rd place horse ran a respectable race, and there's other horses as well, if you go down through it, that have boosted that form. So that was actually a really hot handicap, I think. And looking at this race tomorrow, yes, there's a few horses in here that might have a bit more to come off their marks, but that was our selection, the Great Whites. That was the first time the Great White had ever run in a handicap before, and I just think off a mark of 97, he hasn't gone up or down. That's a very workable mark, and I just think he could even come forward more for that run at Navan last time, and I think he's still developing. He's only 6 years old. I think he's definitely got a few more pounds up his sleeve, and I think it's quite a workable handicap mark. And I just think this horse will be going on to bigger and better things this season, and off a mark of 97, I think he's fairly well treated in the 253 at Tramore, and that's why he is going to be another extra tip. We then go with the next best, which runs in the 355 at Wincanton with a horse called Get Back for Sean Byrne and Harry Fry. Now, this horse has been running over the hurdles in a few races this summer, has won at Plumpton and Uttoxeter, and you can probably forgive the effort at Market Raisin, but apart from that, he's definitely been improving over the obstacles. Now, the way this race might be set up tomorrow, I think could suit him really nicely. Now, Get Back, he is going to have to be carrying one of the top weights in the race tomorrow. He's going to be carrying an 11 stone 10, but if you look at the way the race might be set up tomorrow, he's a horse that likes to be held up from off the pace, and there's quite a few front runners in here. You're going to have Jamant Show and also as well Twin Star, and if they go quite quick and turn it into a bit of a speed test, it could set up for a closer like Get Back, who's a strong travelling type. The ground shouldn't be a problem at all. It's going to be on the quick side tomorrow. No rain expected at Wincanton. Currently good to firm. So you're going to be wanting horses that be able to handle these conditions. Get back, can easily handle them. And I just think he's still got a little bit more to come from off his mark in these conditions. And there's not a particular strong field in this race. There's not a lot of rivals that I think are jumping out. And at 10-3, I think Get Back is a fair bit of value there. And I'm going to recommend him as my next best. And I think he might shorten up and get a little bit more supported in the betting for Harry Fry. So yeah, I think there's a good run on the cards tomorrow for that one. And like I said, he's going to be my next best. We then go to the 4:30 at Wincanton with my nap with a horse called Captain Tommy for Harry Whittington and Bryony Frost. Now, Harry's team really becoming a well-established stable now. They had a good season last year with a few nice horses, Rouge Vif, Simply the Bet. But this horse has been not too bad for the stable. You know, if you look back through some of his hurdle form, he actually was a fair hurdler. He's actually won at the course before at Wincanton, so that's a nice tick in the box. But in his recent starts, Captain Tommy, he's been going over fences. He's running a couple of novice chases and done okay. And last time was definitely his best effort in a handicap behind Emma Lavelle's Man of the Mountain at Bangor on D when he finished in second that day, and he was warming to the task quite nicely. Now, that race was really competitive and had quite a lot of nice types on paper. However, looking at this race tomorrow, I don't think it lacks that much depth, and I think with the conditions being again in his favour, he's going to be a horse that will like the quick surface of Wincanton tomorrow. I think he's a massive player, and Harry Whittington's stable are in good form, operating at a 25% strike rate, and Bryony Frost as well is a positive jockey booking in my eyes. I like Bryony, and I think she'll get into a good rhythm with him, and I think he brings, especially as well with that second at Bangor on D, the best form to the table. So Captain Tommy, you can currently back him at 11-4. I think he's a good bet tomorrow, and that's why he is going to be my nap of the day. We then go to the Fibre Sound at Southwell with two selections in the evening, and I think both these horses are really big prices. These are both going to be extra tips. The first one comes in the 6:45 at Southwell with a horse called Crossfire for Kieran O'Neill and Scott Dixon. Now, if you look at Scott Dixon, he's always got a great record at Southwell, has plenty of winners. It's one of his local tracks, and this horse Crossfire has been a great servant for him. Won at the course 8 times, this old boy, and last time he showed that he was coming back to form when he finished second over the course and distance. Before that, he hadn't really been showing much, but he was running on turf, and we know he doesn't bring his best form to the table on turf. He's definitely a Fibre Sound specialist, and if you actually look at his handicap mark on the all-weather, he's now down to a mark of 70, and I think that's definitely a really exploitable mark tomorrow, because if you actually look at his form, especially from 12 months ago, he was winning off marks off a lot higher. He won off a mark of 75, and also as well he won off a mark of 80, so you can argue that he's really well in tomorrow at the weights, and he beat a couple of these rivals last time, and I just think it would only take a little bit more improvement or for him to run at the same level, and he's going to be there or thereabouts. And at 9-1, he's going to be my long shot, I should have said, tomorrow. Crossfire at 9-1, I think that's a massive price for him, and we know that this surface brings out the best in him, and because he's thrown in a few stinkers, and he did that the time before last season, threw in a few blanks, that's got his handicap down to a really workable mark, and he's probably an 80 rated horse on this surface, so it just makes sense really for you to back him tomorrow. And at 9-1 each way, I think that's a huge price, and I think he'll be half the price come post time tomorrow. So that's going to be my long shot of the day, Crossfire in the 6:45 at Southwell. We then go to the 8:15 at Southwell with a horse called Roberto for Ben Curtis and Gay Calloway. You can currently back this horse at 8-1. Going to recommend a win-only bet selection here, and this horse nearly made next best territory, but I still think he's worth a bet, and just a win-only bet as well. He finished 5th at Southwell last time we saw him, where he actually ran, I think, a lot better than the bare result suggests. He actually stayed on quite strongly again in the closing stages. He had a apprentice jockey, Callum Hutchinson, who's actually nephew, I believe, of or nephew or son of former jump jockey Wayne Hutchinson, but I think his lack of experience really told sold on him that day. And tomorrow with the booking of Ben Curtis, that really means business. But if you actually look at the form book, our selection here, Robero, is really well handicapped. He's going to be running off a mark of 70 tomorrow in this race. And if you look back through some of his form, like Crossfire 12 months ago, he was winning off a lot higher marks. He won off a mark of 73 and 79 around the Christmas period last year, and was running in a lot better races than this on this surface. And we know he likes the surface. He's won at the course a few times during his career. He's by Piccolo as well, who's a sire you want to follow on the fibre sand. And if you look at this race as a whole tomorrow, there's a lot of horses in here. Yes, they might have some nice form claims, but the majority of them, and I think all of them, have not run on the fibre sand before, or if they have, they haven't shown a liking for it. And I just think that's where they can come undone. And I just think the amount of experience you need on Southwell to handle it is absolutely crucial. You need experience on the fibre sand at Southwell, and I just think this horse has got it. And on his handicap mark, he's fairly well treated. So yeah, this horse Robero tomorrow, I think he's a very good value, and with Ben Curtis, a more seasoned and more experienced jockey aboard, I expect a good run for our money. So that's going to be my sixth and final tip of the day, Robero in the 8:15 at Southwell. So I'll quickly just recap through those selections. In the 2:26 at Carlisle tomorrow, we go my extra tip, Looksnowtlikebrian at 8-1 each way. In the 2:53 at Tramore, another extra tip, the Great White at 8-1 each way. The next best is in the 3:55 at Wincanton, Get Back. The nap is in the 4:30 at Wincanton with Captain Tommy, 11-4 win only bet. The 6:45 at Southwell sees us go with Crossfire at 9-1 as my long shot each way. And then Robero in the 8:15 at Southwell, win only bet at 8-1. So they're the 6 best tips for tomorrow's racing. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button here to my YouTube channel for more tips. If you're enjoying them as well, please remember to give us a thumbs up. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, you can do, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, check out my website, which is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some more winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.